These designs can be adapted to your existing technology, Athena explained. They were created specifically to be shared with species who face extinction-level threats. You're giving us this technology? Leader Bay asked, disbelief clear in his voice. That was always the intention, Athena said. The Guardian fleet was never meant to fight your battles indefinitely. We were designed to protect until you could protect yourselves. But why? Tay asked. Why would humans care about the fate of species they never met? Because that was their choice, Athena replied. Humanity's history was marked by both terrible conflicts and remarkable compassion. As they prepared to leave physical existence behind, they chose which legacy to leave. They chose protection over conquest, hope over fear. For the next 2 days, Federation engineers worked alongside Athena to implement the human designs. Mountains, fabrication systems produced key components that couldn't be manufactured with Federation technology. Even civilian ships were retrofitted with basic defensive capabilities. As preparations neared completion, long-range sensors detected the Voidborn fleet approaching once more. They've repaired their ships and added reinforcements, Officer Jin reported. Their numbers are greater than before. Admiral Tay gathered the fleet commanders for a final briefing. The Voidborn expect us to fight as we did before. They don't know about our new capabilities. We will use this advantage. The Federation fleet, now enhanced with human technology, moved into formation alongside the 2 remaining Guardian vessels. The smaller ships now carried energy shields that would have been impossible just days before. The larger vessels had been equipped with weapons based on human designs. When the Voidborn arrived, they found not a scattered, desperate defense, but an organized battle group waiting for them. The enemy paused, perhaps sensing something had changed. Athena opened a communication channel to all ships. Remember, our goal is not destruction, but defense. The technology you now possess is meant to protect, not conquer. Use it wisely. The Voidborn struck first, their black ships moving into their familiar attack formation. But this time the Federation ships held their ground. Their new shields absorbed the enemy's energy weapons, glowing brightly but holding firm. The battle was fierce but decisively different from previous encounters. Federation vessels now fought as equals alongside the Guardian ships. When the Voidborn adapted their tactics, the Federation fleet adapted in return, guided by Athena's strategic insights. After hours of combat, the Voidborn began to retreat. First a few ships, then dozens, then their entire remaining fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving Eller in space. They're gone, Jin announced, her voice filled with wonder. We actually defeated them. Not defeated, Athena corrected. Convinced them to seek easier prey. The Voidborn are pragmatic. They won't waste resources on a difficult target when other systems remain vulnerable. In the days that followed, celebration spread across the Federation. The Guardian vessels became symbols of hope, proof that in a vast, often hostile galaxy, compassion could span across time and space. 1 month later, Admiral Tay stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching as mountain and ocean prepared to depart. You're leaving? She asked Athena, whose presence now extended beyond the Guardian vessels to the Federation's own defense network. Mountain and ocean must return to Earth, Athena explained. Other species may need our help, but part of my consciousness will remain with your people, guiding the development of the defense systems. Leader Bay, who had once dismissed the human myth, now faced the Guardian vessels with respect. What should we do with this gift? That is for you to decide, Athena replied. Humanity hoped you would use it as they would have, to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Federation Council's decision was unanimous. They established the Terran Guardian Directive, a pledge to use humanity's gift not only for their own protection, but to shield other vulnerable species from threats like the Voidborn. As mountain and ocean vanished into hyperspace, Admiral Tay stood at her viewport, gazing at the stars with new understanding. They left because they evolved beyond physical form, she said to Officer Jin, who stood beside her. But they didn't abandon the galaxy. They trusted it to those who would follow. Jin nodded. Do you think they know what their guardians have done here? I believe they would be pleased, Tay replied. They hoped other species would continue what they began, a galaxy where the strong protect the vulnerable, not because they must, but because they can. As the Federation fleet dispersed to begin their new mission, the essence of Athena remained, carrying humanity's final directive forward into a hopeful future. These vessels are remarkable, Zhou said as she studied the holographic displays showing Mountain's internal systems. The technology is unlike anything I've seen. Athena's blue light pulsed gently. These vessels contain humanity's final military innovations. They were designed to be adaptable and self-improving. Yet humans chose to leave this behind and evolve beyond physical form? Zhou asked, her fingers tracing the complex schematics. Humanity's journey was complex, Athena replied. They were warriors, yes, but also dreamers, explorers, and ultimately guardians. They believed protection was a responsibility, not just a capability. Zhou and her team worked day and night, studying the Guardian vessels and developing ways to integrate Federation technology with the ancient human systems. Meanwhile, Admiral Zhou and Leader Bei met regularly with Athena to discuss strategy. The Voidborn will adapt, Athena warned during one such meeting. Their ships are partially organic. They learn and evolve with each encounter. Then we must evolve faster, Zhou replied. Zhou's team is making progress on integrating our sensor arrays with your defense systems. Leader Bei, who had once been skeptical of seeking human help, now leaned forward with interest. Can you tell us more about these Voidborn? We've encountered them only recently, but your analysis suggests you know their kind. Athena's light dimmed slightly. The Voidborn are not unique in galactic history. Humanity encountered similar species, predators who consume rather than create. They represent an evolutionary path that favors expansion over cooperation. As they talked, Officer Jin burst into the chamber, her face pale. Admiral, long-range sensors have detected Voidborn ships. Their fleet is 3 times larger than before. Zhou straightened her uniform. How long do we have? 24 hours at most, Jin replied. Then we accelerate our preparations, Zhou said firmly. The next day, Federation ships formed a defensive line alongside the Guardian vessels. Zhou's team had worked miracles, integrating Federation sensor technology with Athena's defense systems. The combined fleet waited as the Voidborn approached. This time the enemy came prepared. Their ships had been modified with new shielding that pulsed with an eerie purple light. They've adapted to our energy disruption technology, Athena observed. As expected, the battle began with a coordinated attack from the Federation's fastest ships, using strategies developed with Athena. They struck the Voidborn flanks, then retreated before the enemy could respond. Thunder moved forward, deploying its smaller craft. But this time, the Voidborn were ready. Their ships released a cloud of particles that interfered with the smaller vessel's guidance systems. They've analyzed our previous tactics, Athena noted. Her voice still calm despite the setback. The Voidborn pressed their advantage, concentrating fire on Thunder. Hundreds of energy beams struck the Guardian vessel simultaneously. Thunder's shields held initially, glowing brighter with each impact. But the Voidborn kept firing, their ships moving into a spherical formation around the Guardian vessel. Thunder's shields at 40%, Athena reported, rerouting power from non-essential systems. On the Federation flagship, Admiral Zhou watched with growing concern. Can we assist? Not directly, Athena replied, but if you target these coordinates. A series of numbers appeared on Zhou's console. You may create a distraction. Zhou immediately ordered the attack. Federation ships fired at the designated points in the Voidborn formation, creating gaps that Thunder exploited to maneuver away. But the Voidborn adjusted quickly. Now they targeted Ocean, their largest ships moving into position around the Guardian vessel. Ocean returned fire, its golden beams cutting through several enemy ships. But for each one destroyed, 2 more took its place. They're sacrificing ships to drain our energy reserves, Athena realized. A strategy we didn't anticipate. Ocean's shields began to flicker as the relentless barrage continued. Federation ships moved to assist, but they were intercepted by Voidborn squadrons. Thunder is returning to combat status, Athena announced, redirecting to support Ocean. The battle raged for hours. Both sides suffered losses. Half of the Federation fleet was disabled or destroyed. Ocean's shields failed completely, exposing its hull to direct attacks. "We need to retreat," Tay said, watching as damage reports flooded in. "Regroup and develop new strategies." Athena was silent for a moment. "Agreed. But first we must ensure your people's safety." Thunder suddenly accelerated toward the center of the Voidborn fleet. Its hull began to glow with increasing intensity. "What is Thunder doing?" Leader Bay asked, alarmed. "Creating a path for our retreat," Athena replied. "Please move all vessels to these coordinates immediately." As the Federation ships withdrew, Thunder detonated in a controlled explosion of pure energy. The blast disabled a third of the Voidborn fleet instantaneously. The remaining enemy ships scattered, their formation broken. "Thunder," Tay whispered, watching the Guardian vessel sacrifice. "Its physical form is lost," Athena acknowledged, her voice tinged with something like sadness. "But its essence, the data and experiences it gathered, have been transferred to mountain and ocean. Nothing truly essential was lost." The surviving ships retreated to the far side of Eloran's moon, regrouping and assessing damage. In Mountain's command chamber, Admiral Tay faced Athena's glowing presence. "We've lost too many ships. Even with your technology, we cannot win a direct confrontation." "Perhaps not," Athena agreed. "But there is another option, one that humanity prepared for just such a situation. It is time to share with you the true purpose of our mission." The surviving Federation ships gathered in the shadow of Eloran's largest moon. Damage reports filled the communication channels as crews worked to repair their vessels. The Guardian ship Ocean hovered nearby, its hull bearing the scars of battle. Inside Mountain's command chamber, Admiral Tay, Leader Bay, and Scientist Zhou stood before Athena's pulsing blue light. "We cannot win through force alone," Athena stated simply. "The Voidborn adapt too quickly, but humanity foresaw this possibility." A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing complex technical schematics. "What are we looking at?" asked Zhou, her eyes widening as she studied the designs. "Humanity's true gift," Athena replied. "Not just the Guardian vessels, but the knowledge to create your own defensive systems." The hologram shifted to show modular defense platforms, automated repair systems, and shield generators far more advanced than anything the Federation possessed. As the signal traveled through subspace toward the desperate Federation, Athena continued preparations. The Guardian fleet would need to launch soon. The Voidborn were already closing in on the Eloran homeworld. "Initiating launch sequence," Athena commanded. Far above the underground complex, the ground began to tremble. A mountain peak split open, revealing a massive launch shaft. Similar openings appeared in 2 other locations. Earth had kept its secrets well during the long centuries of waiting. Mountain was the first to rise, its enormous bulk defying gravity with technologies forgotten by the galaxy. Thunder and Ocean followed, emerging from their long sleep into the light of Earth's sun. They hovered momentarily, their shadow systems analyzing the conditions of a world changed since their creation. "Guardian fleet assembled," Athena confirmed, setting course for Eloran space. The 3 vessels moved in perfect formation, accelerating toward the upper atmosphere. As they left Earth behind, Athena dedicated a small portion of her awareness to monitoring the ancient homeworld. The launch facilities closed, returning to their dormant state. If needed again, they would awaken, but for now, Earth would return to its peaceful slumber. In the void of space, the Guardian fleet prepared for faster-than-light travel. Their hyperspace engines, technology far beyond anything currently used in the galaxy, powered up. "Calculating optimal route to Eloran Federation," Athena announced. "Estimated arrival, 72 hours. The vessels accelerated, then vanished, in 3 flashes of brilliant light, tearing holes in the fabric of space-time. As the Guardian fleet traveled through hyperspace, Athena continued to refine her battle strategies based on the Eleran data. The Voidborn were a formidable enemy, a species that consumed rather than created, that destroyed rather than preserved. They represented exactly the kind of threat humanity had anticipated when creating the Guardians. In what seemed like moments to Athena but was in fact 3 days of travel, the Guardian fleet approached Eleran space. Long-range sensors detected the Voidborn armada already in position around the Federation homeworld. Preparing for emergence, Athena announced. Battle systems at full readiness. The Guardian fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, positioning themselves between the Aloran homeworld and the Voidborn fleet. Their sudden appearance sent shockwaves of confusion through both sides. Athena opened a channel to all Federation frequencies. Aloran Federation, this is Athena, operational commander of humanity's Guardian fleet. We have come in response to your distress call. Stand by for defensive action. Then she turned her attention to the Voidborn. Their ships, black, angular vessels that absorbed light rather than reflected it, hung in space like a cloud of predators. Let us begin, Athena said quietly, as the Guardian fleet moved forward to fulfill humanity's ancient promise. The 3 massive vessels of the Guardian fleet positioned themselves between the Eleran homeworld and the approaching Voidborn armada. On the Federation flagship, Admiral Zhou watched with a mixture of hope and fear. The mysterious vessels dwarfed even the largest Federation ships, their smooth hulls reflecting starlight with an almost liquid quality. Are they truly from Earth? Asked Leader Bay, who had joined Zhou on the bridge. His earlier skepticism had given way to cautious wonder. According to their transmission, yes, Zhou replied, though they claim humanity itself has moved beyond physical form. Communications Officer Jin worked frantically at her console. Admiral, I'm receiving a direct communication request from the lead vessel, the one designated as Thunder. Zhou nodded. Accept the connection. The main view screen flickered, but instead of showing a face or figure, it displayed a pulsing blue light that shifted with the sound of a calm, feminine voice. Admiral Zhou, I am Athena. I understand you have questions. I will answer what I can, but our primary focus must be the Voidborn threat. They will attack soon. What exactly are you? Zhou asked. I am the Automated Humanity Emergency Nexus Alliance, created to uphold humanity's final directives after they evolved beyond physical existence. The vessels, Thunder, Mountain, and Ocean, are my physical forms in this space. Before Zhou could ask more questions, Officer Jin called out, Admiral, the Voidborn fleet is moving into attack formation. The black ships of the Voidborn spread out in a familiar pattern. Federation analysts had seen this formation before. It preceded their standard planetary bombardment. Federation vessels. Athena's voice remained perfectly calm. Please withdraw to a defensive position around your homeworld. The Guardian fleet will engage the Voidborn directly. Leader Bay stepped forward. You expect us to simply wait while you fight our battle? This is not a question of pride, Athena replied. Your weapons cannot penetrate Voidborn shields, ours can. Please protect your civilians while we address the immediate threat. Zhou made her decision quickly. All Federation vessels form defensive perimeter around the planet. Let our new allies handle the front line. The Federation ships pulled back as the 3 Guardian vessels moved toward the Voidborn. The enemy responded immediately, hundreds of energy beams lancing out from their black ships. The attack struck Thunder's hull and seemed to simply disappear. Fascinating, Athena commented, her voice echoing through the Federation command channel. Their weapons use a form of energy disruption, analyzing and calibrating appropriate response. Thunder's surface rippled and hundreds of smaller craft deployed, swarming toward the Voidborn fleet. Each small craft was fully autonomous, guided by extensions of Athena's consciousness. The Voidborn, clearly surprised by the unfamiliar technology, tried to adjust their attack pattern. Too late. The smaller craft reached their ships and attached themselves to the black hulls. There was no explosion, no visible energy discharge. The Voidborn vessels simply stopped functioning, their lights fading as systems shut down. What just happened? Leader Bay asked, watching as ship after ship in the Voidborn fleet went dark. Selective system disruption, Athena explained. Our approach is precision rather than destruction when possible. Not all the Voidborn ships could be disabled so easily. The larger vessels in their fleet began concentrating fire on Ocean. This time, the Guardian vessel's shields became visible, a shimmering barrier of blue energy that absorbed the attacks. Ocean responded with weapons of its own. Beams of golden light cut through the Voidborn shields as though they weren't there. Each shot was precisely targeted, disabling rather than destroying when possible. "They're retreating," Officer Jin announced as the remaining Voidborn ships began pulling back, then jumping to faster-than-light travel. When the last enemy ship had fled, Athena opened a channel to the Federation flagship. "Admiral Tay, the immediate threat has been neutralized. However, the Voidborn will return with reinforcements. We have approximately 72 hours to prepare." "I have so many questions," Tay said. "As do I," Athena replied. "I would like to learn more about your Federation and about the Voidborn. Perhaps we could exchange information." Hours later, Admiral Tay stood in Mountain's central command chamber. There was no crew, only holographic interfaces and autonomous systems. The ship felt alive somehow, as though it were a single organism rather than a vessel. "You mentioned that humanity evolved beyond physical form," Tay said. "What does that mean?" Athena's blue light pulsed gently from a central column. "Approximately 8,500 of your years ago, humanity reached a point where they could transfer their consciousness to a non-physical state of existence. They became beings of pure energy and thought, able to explore the universe in ways impossible for physical beings." "Why didn't they take these vessels with them?" Tay asked. "These vessels weren't left behind," Athena explained. "They were left for you, for any species that would need them. Humanity's final act in physical form was to create guardians who would uphold their ethical principles after they departed." "And what principles are those?" Leader Bay asked, having joined them in the command chamber. Athena's light shifted to a warmer hue. "The core directive is simple: protect those who cannot protect themselves." Humanity's history was complex, filled with both terrible conflicts and remarkable compassion. In the end, they chose to leave a legacy of protection, not destruction. The Federation leaders exchanged glances. For so long they had faced the Voidborn alone, believing themselves abandoned in an indifferent galaxy. Now they discovered that ancient promises still held meaning, that help could come from unexpected places. "The Voidborn will return," Athena reminded them. "And when they do, we must be ready. They will have adapted to our initial tactics." Tay nodded. "Then we should begin preparations immediately." "Yes," Athena agreed. "Together." In the days following the first battle, an uneasy alliance formed between the Federation and the Guardian fleet. Admiral Tay brought her best scientists aboard Mountain to work alongside Athena. Chief among them was lead scientist Zhou, a brilliant woman whose quiet demeanor hid an insatiable curiosity. The Galactic Federation stood on the brink of destruction. For 3 cycles, the merciless Voidborn had swept through neighboring systems, leaving nothing but ash and silence. Their black ships moved like a plague across the stars, consuming all life they encountered. Admiral Tay stood before the Emergency Council, her silver-blue scales reflecting the dim light of the chamber. As the youngest admiral in Federation history, many doubted her judgment, but none questioned her courage. "Honorable Council," she began, "our defenses cannot withstand another Voidborn assault. Our fleets are scattered. Our shield technology fails against their weapons. We need help." Council Leader Bay rose from his seat, his massive frame towering over the others. "And where do you suggest we find this help, Admiral? We are the most advanced civilization in this sector." Tay activated a holographic display. Ancient symbols floated in the air, symbols excavated from ruins on the edge of known space. "Not the most advanced," she said quietly. "Just the most recent. The archives speak of a species called humans. They possess technology far beyond our understanding. Before they left physical form, they promised to help those in need." Representative Zhou, an elder with pale green skin, laughed sharply. Fairy tales. You want to base our survival on stories from the ancient past? With respect, Tay replied. The archaeological evidence is clear. This isn't mythology. It's history. The humans existed. Their technology was real. And before they transcended physical form, they left a promise of protection. The chamber erupted into argument. Some council members dismissed the idea immediately. Others demanded more evidence. A few looked thoughtful, considering the desperate nature of their situation. Even if these humans existed, Leader Bay said when the noise subsided, they disappeared thousands of years ago. What help could they offer now? Tay touched another control. A three-dimensional map of an unremarkable solar system appeared. This is the system they called home. We know they evolved beyond physical form. But what if they left something behind? Some kind of guardian? The debate lasted for hours. Eventually, a vote was called. By the narrowest margin, a single vote, Admiral Tay's proposal was approved. 3 days later, Tay stood in the Federation's most powerful communication center. The massive transmitter had been reconfigured to broadcast on frequencies unused for millennia. Communications Officer Jin looked up from her console. Ready, Admiral. Tay nodded. Send the message. Jin's fingers moved across the controls. The transmitter hummed with power, directing a signal toward a small blue-green planet in a distant spiral arm of the galaxy. The message was simple. To humanity or its descendants, the Elleran Federation faces extinction from an enemy called the Voidborn. We request aid according to the ancient promise. SOS. Silence followed. The assembled officers looked at each other nervously. How long will it take to reach Earth? Asked Tay. The signal travels through subspace, Jin replied. Hours, perhaps. But, Admiral, no one has communicated with Earth for thousands of years. We don't know if anyone or anything is still there to receive it. Tay nodded grimly. Then we wait. On the third day, as hope began to fade, long-range sensors detected Voidborn scouts entering the outer edges of the Federation's home system. They found us sooner than expected, Tay told the Council. We need to begin evacuation procedures immediately. And your human saviors? Sue asked bitterly. Where are they? Before Tay could answer, Officer Jin burst into the chamber, breathless with excitement. Admiral, Council members, we've received a response. The Council fell silent as Jin activated the main display. A simple text message appeared. Signal authenticated. Federation distress confirmed. Humanity has ascended beyond physical form. We remain. Help is coming. Hold position. ETA, 72 hours. What does this mean? Leader Bay demanded. Who sent this? Jin's hands trembled slightly. The signature identifies the sender as Automated Humanity Emergency Nexus Alliance. The abbreviation is Athena. A machine? Representative Zhou asked incredulously. Perhaps, Tay said. Or something more. As the Federation began emergency evacuations, something stirred on a distant blue-green planet. Deep beneath a mountain range, in chambers sealed for millennia, emergency lights flickered to life. Massive shapes became visible in the darkness, 3 colossal vessels preserved in perfect stasis. A feminine voice echoed through the empty halls. Distress signal authenticated. Extinction level threat confirmed. Activation of Guardian units. Authorized under Final Directive 7. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. The enormous war machines, codenamed Thunder, Mountain, and Ocean, began to awaken. Self-repair systems activated, weapon platforms initialized, shields powered up. Athena's voice continued, calm and certain. Humanity's promise will be kept. Guardian fleet preparing for deployment. 3 days later, as the Voidborn Armada approached the Federation homeworld, Officer Jin stared at her sensor readings in disbelief. Admiral, I'm detecting 3 massive objects approaching through hyperspace. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. The Federation's remaining ships scrambled to defensive positions, uncertain whether these newcomers represented salvation or a new threat. Space itself seemed to fold. 3 enormous vessels emerged from hyperspace. Angular, efficient and bristling with dormant weapon systems. Each was easily 3 times the size of the largest Federation dreadnought. As the vessels moved to position themselves between the Federation homeworld and the approaching Voidborn fleet, a calm voice transmitted across all Federation communication channels. Eleran Federation, this is Athena. Humanity has long departed this plane of existence, but their promise remains. We are the Guardians, created to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Stand by for defensive action. Admiral Tay stared at the massive vessels with a mixture of awe and hope. They answered, she whispered. They actually answered. Deep beneath what was once called the Rocky Mountains, a vast underground complex lay dormant. For thousands of years it had waited in perfect hibernation, systems powered down to minimal levels, preserving the last great war machines of humanity. The facility stretched for kilometers beneath the earth, its cavernous chambers designed to house vessels that once traveled between stars. In the central command hub, emergency lights suddenly flickered to life. The silence of millennia was broken by a gentle hum as power systems began to reactivate. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing the distress signal from the Eleran Federation. Signal authentication complete, announced Athena, her voice echoing through the empty halls. Threat assessment, extinction level, activating Protocol Guardian under Final Directive 7. The AI Nexus had been humanity's final creation before they evolved beyond physical form. Athena was neither fully machine nor fully alive. She existed somewhere in between, carrying the collected wisdom and ethical framework of her creators. Beginning revival sequence for Guardian units, she continued, initiating a complex series of commands. In 3 enormous chambers, preservation fields began to dissipate. The massive shapes of thunder, mountain, and ocean became visible, each vessel nearly 2 kilometers in length. Their sleek hulls were marked with symbols of protection, not conquest. These were shields, not swords, though they carried enough firepower to shatter planets. As systems came online, repair drones swarmed across the ancient hulls. Though perfectly preserved, the vessels needed preparation after their long sleep. Weapon systems initialized. Engines warmed. Shield generators hummed with potential energy. Guardian units at 30% readiness, Athena reported to the empty chamber. Estimated time to full operational status, 64 hours. While the vessels prepared, Athena studied the data from the Eleran distress call. She analyzed the Voidborn threat, their attack patterns, their weapons capabilities. She formulated strategies, calculated probabilities, prepared for every contingency. This was her purpose. When humanity transcended physical existence, they had not abandoned their responsibilities. Instead, they created Athena and the Guardian fleet as caretakers, protectors who would uphold humanity's final promise to the galaxy. In the Vessel Mountain, maintenance robots scurried through corridors that had never known human footsteps. The ship had been constructed after humanity had already begun its transition to energy-based existence. Its systems were designed to operate autonomously, guided by Athena's consciousness. Self-diagnostic complete, reported Mountain's submind. All systems functional. Similar reports came from Thunder and Ocean. The Guardian fleet was awakening. Athena directed her consciousness across all 3 vessels simultaneously, monitoring countless systems. Part of her awareness remained in the Earth facility, another part prepared the response to the Eleran Federation. Transmitting reply, she announced. The message was brief but clear. Humanity has ascended. We remain. Help is coming. Hold position.